Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a special edition of our show. It's going to be a quick one. Today is more like a kind of thank you to everybody out there for kind of bringing us to this point. So what is this point, you might say? Well, we've just recently hit our 5th year anniversary here on YouTube. Okay, of course, you probably all know the story of how we got to YouTube, right? Sea of Tranquility has been an online webzine since 2001. Back in 2014, I kind of said, man, everybody's doing stuff on YouTube, taking shows to the video format. How can we kind of do Sea of Tranquility on YouTube, right? So what started out back in 2014 as just kind of me basically doing live reviews, reviews on YouTube of new albums and stuff like that, new CDs, new releases, turned into kind of like this musical variety show that we've now been doing especially over the last year or two, where we've introduced all sorts of different show formats in addition to the new products, right? We're doing top 10 songs, classic album wars, rants, what if shows, interviews, all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, and we just hit, let me go back a little bit. So June of 2018, okay, I finally hit 1,000 subscribers. So it took me 4 years to do that, okay, because it's not easy building up a subscribership, okay, from, when you first start out. It's hard. You have to really go and market and push yourself out there and, do all sorts of stuff on Facebook and Twitter and social media, right, to get people to look at your channel. It's not easy. Thankfully, we had, basically what we were doing the first couple of years is we were doing reviews like this on here of, new releases by older and newer bands. And, the bands see the review, you tag them on the review in Facebook, whatever. They start to kind of, send it out, whatever the links. And slowly but surely, we were starting to gain a following. But it wasn't until June of 2018 that I hit 1,000 subscribers here. Okay, that's when, you can go into the partner program with YouTube to run ads on your videos, and then they start kind of putting you in the algorithm and start recommending your videos to people who are looking at likewise content, like content. So that's when things really start to snowball. So we hit 1,000 June of 2018. Okay, we hit 5,000 about a year later, okay, over the summer. And before you know it, like just a couple months later, not even, we hit 10,000 as of last night. Okay, so yeah, it's taken 5 years to get here, but when you really think about it, it just basically took a year. It took 4 years of a lot of hard work, doing a lot of videos, but it took like the last year. And granted, this channel has basically become a part-time job for me. Okay, I've got a day job, okay, which I love quite a bit. That keeps me, of course, very busy during the day. But what am I doing? I'm doing videos first thing in the morning, I'm doing them at night, and I'm doing them all weekend long. It's what you got to do, right? So you got to keep the viewership coming in. You got to keep people engaged and entertained. You got to give them a variety of different kind of programming. And here on Sea of Tranquility, we cater to a bunch of different audiences, right? We got the prog rock crowd. We got the heavy metal crowd. We got the classic hard rock crowd. We got those who like jazz and jazz fusion. So we're kind of doing a little classic rock as well. So we're kind of doing a lot of everything to kind of keep all these different types of viewers engaged in our content. And again, we're doing a lot of different flavors of shows. I'm sure there's going to be more coming, right? I've got a to-do list that's like 1.5 miles long. Thankfully, I don't always have to do it all by myself, okay? Although I handle the bulk of the writing and the arranging and all that kind of stuff to put these shows together. I've been very lucky and fortunate to have a great list of guest stars and guest hosts who have come on the show over the last couple of years, from my good friends, Jeff Young, Chris Caffrey, Mike Antonelli, Butch Jones, Steve Keeler, Dan Brown, Nick Franco, Ryan Scow, okay, all sorts of people who have guested on the show. Chris Allo, okay, who I know is a favorite of a lot of our viewers. Chris has been enormous in kind of coming on here and having the kind of camaraderie with me that our viewers really appreciate. And his intellect and knowledge of a lot of especially when it comes to heavy metal, is just great to have, and we love playing off each other. But again, I have that same kind of camaraderie with all my guest hosts and guest stars, and they all bring something different to the table. So it's been an absolute pleasure having them on the show over the last couple of years. Some come on more often than others. That's okay. Some of them have very, very specific things they bring to the table. All right. But I think they're all appreciated by our audience, and that's the important thing, and absolutely appreciated by me. I can't thank all of you enough for helping bring your expertise, your personalities, your sense of humor, and your knowledge to our show. Okay. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. To all of you, the viewers, I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Hopefully I'm bringing you content here that keeps you coming back for more. I think it's safe to say about 95% of those who come here really enjoy what we're doing. That's good. We got another 5% who I'm not even going to get into any negativity today. We won't even talk about them. That's fine. We know we got those people out there who just like to spread their misery, but that's okay. The rest of you always have good things to say, always seem to like what I'm doing, and while you may not always agree with what I'm talking about or what I'm showcasing, that's okay. I think the spirit of this channel and all the shows that we bring to you is to talk about music we love, okay, to spread the word to our viewership of bands and music that maybe you never heard of before, whether it's something brand new, a new group, or something old and obscure. Okay, or maybe reminding you of all the great stuff that we used to listen to when we were young, okay, and get you back into listening to those things, all right, maybe to get you listening to albums by bands you love but you never heard, okay. It's all about kind of expanding our musical minds, right, because music, I'm going to quote my buddy Jeff Young here, music has the power to heal, all right, music has the power to make the world a better place, and I've actually been thinking that since I was a kid, all right, I've been obsessed with music and bands and everything that goes into making and creating this thing we love about music, specifically for me, metal, hard rock, prog, jazz fusion, that's classic rock. Those are my areas of expertise. If you're new folks coming to this channel and you're wondering why I don't talk about punk or why I don't talk about folk or alternative or hip hop or all that kind of stuff, that's not what this channel focuses on. I get a lot of people who, watch some of these shows like, best debut albums of all time or this, that, or the other thing. They're like, oh, how come you didn't mention, the Pixies or because that's not what I specialize in. That's not what this channel specializes in. So most of the stuff I'm going to talk about is going to be slanted towards those genres, right? So I want to thank my wife, Evelyn, my wonderful wife, Evelyn, who kind of puts up with me sitting here in this chair all hours of the day and night and on the weekends, talking to people on Zoom and Skype and on the phone and having people traipsing in and out of here recording stuff and me going on the road and to this person's house, that person's shop and doing on-location stuff or whatever. It's all part of it, right? It keeps me busy, right? So I work a 9-to-5 job, and then I got to try and squeeze this stuff in whenever I can. And but this is a lot of fun. This is a passion of mine. I do this not to make myself famous or to make myself $1 million. The little bit of money that comes in is great. It helps out. But I do this to spread the word of music, to spread the music of the bands and artists out there who are struggling, okay, to get their hard work and sweat and tears, to get their music to be heard, to talk about it so you guys go out there and investigate it, okay? That's what it's all about. This is a talk show to promote music, old and new, classic, underground, right? That's what we do here. So 5 years, 10,000 subscribers. I want to thank all of you. I want to also mention too, I have another channel, okay, a sister channel called Comic Book Geezers. All right, that now has been on the air for 2 years. All right, we're experiencing the same kind of slow growth over there. We just passed 400 viewers on the Comic Book Geezers show with one of my best friends in the entire world, who I've known for well over 30 years, my partner in crime and co-host over there, Wild Bill Shields. Okay, we put a lot of work into that Comic Book Geezers show. You're going to have a link to that channel at the end of this particular episode. If you love old comic books, okay, from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you love the old Marvel stuff, the old DC stuff, the classic stuff, whether maybe when you were a kid you liked that kind of stuff, maybe you've gotten out of it, or maybe you still follow comics, right? If you have any interest at all in two 50-something-year-old guys talking about and showing their comic book collections, right? So if you want to see all those great covers and the inside works of Jack Kirby and Johnny Romita and Gil Kane and Gene Colan, and you love Thor, Spider-Man, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, The Flash, the Man-Thing, right? Conan the Barbarian, Call the Conqueror, all right? The X-Men, all that stuff. Daredevil, I mean, the Eternals, you name it, we talk about them. Okay, and that show runs weekly, so every Friday you got a new episode. At some point, as we start to get more subscribers, we might start coming in a couple times a week. But for now, it's once a week over there. So please subscribe. Okay, if you have any friends who you know love vintage comic books, please tell them about them. Have them subscribe as well. Like I said, the link will be here. So again, that's my buddy Wild Bill and I. Another labor of love. Music, comic books. Great hobbies to have. So again, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all your wonderful comments each and every day. I mean, I'd love to see them, trust me. And I try to read as many of them, respond to as many of them I can. It's getting harder. The bigger we get, the harder it is to kind of read everything and respond to everything. So that's why we do the questions and answers show every Saturday morning, to hopefully get people to kind of interact with me directly. All right. But don't think that I don't appreciate all of your views, all of your subscriptions, all of your kind words and thumbs ups and all that kind of stuff. And got a lot of good feedback on the Facebook page as well. So I'm happy to be in your lives as often as I can. Lately, it's been every day, multiple times a day. But we got some fun stuff coming up for the next 2 weeks. So as you know, round 1 of the Classic Live Album War Tournament just ended on Monday. Okay, so over the next week, what I'm going to be doing is waiting for those final battles for the polls to end. Okay, so we've got about a dozen or so that I'm kind of waiting on the final tallies to see which ones, or which albums I should say, move on to round 2 of our tournament, right? Then over that last week, so we're talking about probably about a week from today, what I'm going to be doing is kind of putting together the brackets for round 2 and all the matchups, and then we'll start on round 2. Okay, all those winners are going to randomly kind of go against each other, right, to see who makes it onto the third and final rounds, right? So we're probably looking at starting round 2 up right about November 4th or 5th, something like that. I'm away in Vermont that weekend, so I'm going to start that right after that. Okay, we'll get kickstarted on that. So between now and then, we got I got some top 10 song shows coming up, got a couple rants, got questions and answers, a couple of the fun things. I see a lot of really cool stuff on my list, so I'm going to get to that stuff. You'll probably get like a handful of those episodes before we move back into Classic Live Album War again. So, but stay tuned for later today. I've got a top 10 song show that has been requested by, God, if I said 100, I'd probably be shortchanging it. I am going to do my 10 favorite songs from the Beatles. Okay? No, everybody's been asking. Pete, what about the Beatles? What about the Beatles? What about the Beatles? How come you haven't done the Beatles yet? What about the Beatles? Don't you like the Beatles? Pete, the Beatles. It's coming, guys. All right? So that'll be later on today. So enjoy that. We got some other fun stuff coming up later this week and over the weekend. So stay tuned. And again, thanks, everybody. 10,000. I want to get to 20 a lot quicker. Okay? So we went from 5 to 10 over the span of just a couple months. All right, so I want to be at 20,000 subscribers. Let's see, what is it, October 23rd? February? Can that be done? We'll see, all right? But it's all to you guys. Remember, keep spreading the word. If everybody tells 2 or 3 people, we got 10,000 people on here. If everybody tells 1 or 2 or 3 people who don't watch to watch and subscribe, we'll hit that 10,000 before you know it. That would be a great kind of Christmas present, wouldn't it? All right? The more subscribers, the more people know about us, right? The more people can enjoy this content. And more subscribers helps me a lot too, all right? Helps me bring in the ad revenue, right? Which helps keep this thing going, okay? So remember, if you see those little ads at the bottom, let them run, man. The longer you let them run, you leave the stand-up ones on the screen, leave them on the screen, okay? That gives me a couple pennies, all right? Or whatever it is, all right? It's not much, but every little bit counts. Okay, so thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Tune in later for Top 10 Songs, The Beatles. All right, if you're watching this video later on, go into our playlist and catch the Beatles episode or any of our other Top 10 Song shows. We've got all sorts of stuff. Remember, check out the playlist. All right, I put everything nice and organized, nice and neat in there, so you can go in, look at all our archival stuff. We've got 5 years worth of programming on there, hundreds of episodes. All right, so go check it all out, and we'll see you guys again real soon. Take care. www.seatranquility.org is the website. All right, we're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the time. Take care, guys. See you. Bye.